All right, let's jump right into one of the most powerful chapters of the Bhagavad Gita. Chapter 12, often called the Yoga of Devotion. Now, as we're going through the Gita chapter by chapter, you'll notice this one is actually one of the shortest. But don't let that fool you. It tackles one of the biggest, most fundamental questions you'll find on any spiritual path.
Okay, so this is the heart of it right here. The whole chapter kicks off with this massive dilemma. Is it better to focus all your energy on a personal God, a form you can see in your mind, relate to, and build a relationship with? Or is the higher path to meditate on something more abstract, that formless, unseeable spirit that fills the entire universe? It's a question people have been wrestling with forever.
And you've got to remember, this isn't just some philosophical coffee shop debate. For the warrior Arjuna, who's standing on the edge of this terrifying battle, this is an urgent, deeply personal plea for clarity. He turns to his guide, Krishna, and asks him straight up, of these two kinds of seekers, who's got it right? Who is more perfect? And Arjuna lays out the two paths so clearly. On one side, you have the people who are just constantly devoted to a personal form of God. Their path is all about relationship, love, and service. And on the other side, you have those who worship what he calls the unmanifest Brahman, that abstract, eternal, all-pervading reality that has no form. So how does Krishna answer this huge question? Well, he doesn't waste any time. His response is immediate, and honestly, it leaves zero room for doubt. He doesn't say, oh, they're both the same. Nope. He states a very clear preference, and that really sets the tone for everything that follows. And boom, there it is. Krishna's verdict is crystal clear. He says the most perfect yogis are the ones who fix their minds on his personal form with supreme faith. That tells you right there, it's not just about going through the motions of worship, it's about that internal state of total loving focus. And check out the promise that comes with this path. It's just incredible. Krishna doesn't just say it's better, he says it's faster, it's more direct. For those who are completely absorbed in him, he says he personally steps in. He becomes their swift deliverer from that endless cycle of birth and death. So it's framed as this path of grace, a path where you get direct help. But here's the thing about Krishna. He is a supremely practical teacher. He knows that achieving that kind of unwavering focus, well, it isn't easy for most of us, right? So he doesn't just leave us with the ideal. He actually gives us a step-by-step guide, like a ladder that anyone can start climbing, no matter where they are on their journey.
So he gives us this brilliant ladder of practice. The top rung, the ideal, is to fix your mind and your intellect completely on him. But, he says, if you can't do that, no problem. Try the next step down. Just practice. Try to reach him through regular effort. And if even that's too hard, okay, then dedicate your work, your actions to him. And if you can't even do that, the very first step onto the ladder is just to let go of the results of what you do. Work without being attached to the outcome.
I mean, this is just such a compassionate and inclusive way to teach. It's basically saying, hey, start where you are. There is a step on this ladder for absolutely everyone. It just completely removes that pressure to be perfect from day one. Instead, it's all about taking the one step you can take right here, right now. So after laying out the how-to, Krishna totally shifts gears. He moves from the things you do to the kind of person you become. He starts to paint this incredibly detailed picture of the ideal devotee, describing the inner state of being that he calls dear to me. And this is where the teaching gets really deep, really psychological. It becomes less about what you're doing in a temple and way more about how you navigate the world, your relationships, and yeah, your own mind. So what does this ideal state of being actually look like? The very first quality he mentions is contentment. And we're not talking about the kind of happiness that depends on getting what you want. No, this is a steady internal state of being satisfied. This person is described as always content, no matter what life is throwing at them. Next, Krishna talks about this deep emotional stability. This person isn't agitated by the world, and just as important, they don't go around agitating the world either. They're free from that roller coaster of joy, fear, anxiety, and anger. Their inner peace just stays. And then there's this one, which is maybe the most challenging of all. This devotee sees everyone with an equal eye. They are the same to an enemy as they are to a friend, in honor and dishonor, pleasure and pain. It points to a state that's beyond personal preference, beyond I like this and I don't like that. So when you put it all together, The portrait you get is of someone who is truly free. You know? Free from attachment, free from the highs and lows of praise and blame, pleasure and pain. They're content with whatever happens, their mind is steady, and their inner peace is unshakable. This is the state of being that Krishna says is dear to me.
And that leads us right to the very end of the chapter. After defining the best path, giving us a practical ladder to climb it, and describing the qualities of the person who makes it to the top, Krishna gives one final, beautiful, powerful assurance.
This is really the climax of the whole chapter. He wraps it all up by saying that those who follow this path of devotion, who have faith and who see him as their ultimate goal, they aren't just dear to him. He says they are exceedingly dear to him. It just ends the whole chapter on this note of incredible intimacy and divine love, making it clear the whole journey is about building a sacred relationship. And so that brings us to the end of our explainer, and it leaves us with a question for you. When you look at Krishna's ladder, that idea of focusing the mind, or consistent practice, or acting for a higher cause, or just letting go of the results, which one of those steps feels the most real, the most accessible for you in your life, right at this moment? It's a question the Gita invites every single one of us to think about.